Right, well, apparently we're live. We're about a minute early, so I'm just going to check what's going on. Yeah, we're live. Right, well, good evening. It's the normal 8:30 slot on a Thursday night. There's no Pieman. He's got what they call a England hangover, unfortunately. So he's in bad shape, Pieman. But let's be honest, he's trying to get himself a ticket for Sunday. I think he went to the Germany game, and he's been really busy with work as well. So there's only going to be one face you're going to see tonight. So unfortunately, I can see the viewing figures going right down the pan if I'm the only face you're looking at. I've got SD on the line.
Good evening, viewers.
Good evening. This is a sound check for SD. Hopefully you can hear him. So we give him a lot of stick, don't we? We give him a lot of stick in the chat, SD. But really, I've never known someone be more dedicated to racing, not just from a punting point of view. I don't know anyone who attends more meetings as a non-employee. I get paid to attend a lot of meetings. This man goes up and down the country and has done for the best part of 20 years. So yeah, we've got him on. He's going to chip in. He is on the phone. So say good evening, SD, as a sound test.
Good evening to everybody from John O'Groats to Land's End, from Yarmouth to Newmarket, from Newmarket to Chester, and from Kelso to Hexham.
Well, nearly all of those venues you've just mentioned, I've attended them with you at some point in my life. So anyway, away we go. As always, we'll have a quick look back on last week because it's not often we get to do that from a positive point of view. 8 points staked, 14.56 returned. The highlight of which, for a change, I put 2 up in the mile handicap at Sandown. I said both Magical Morning and Maydani were the wrong prices last Thursday, and it went pretty well because Magical Morning finished first and Maydani finished second. Not as good elsewhere, so they were the 2 positives to take out from a doubles and trebles point of view. A very busy week this week, the busiest Saturday in the flat racing calendar without question. Probably too busy. Super Saturday they call it. We've got fixtures this Saturday alone from Newmarket, Ascot, York, and Chester. All Grade A tracks, a couple of which I avoid, as you know. So yeah, whoever thought that was an idea to have all those running on the same day, not sure. There's also Newmarket's gone today. There's some good races today. I put one up on Twitter that finished placed at 40-1. Could have won on another day if it was drawn on the right side. Royal Scimitar. But yeah, we'll be concentrating on Newmarket and Ascot. But do let us know in the comments if you fancy anything at York. I don't cover York and Chester. I think SD's got one at York. I'll come to him soon. We've got shout out to a couple in the chat. Centre Circle podcast. I think he's on holiday, but he's still tuning in. Is Pieman still trying to get his voice back? Yes. Pieman has lost a lot this week, including his health took a hit, his voice has took a hit. I think his pockets took a hit as well, and possibly his relationship status might have took a little bit of a hit as well. But he's a really nice fella, so good luck to him. He can have a night off. So before we get stuck into Saturday itself, there's a Group 1 on Friday at Newmarket, so I just wanted to put a nod towards that. And it's an absolute belter, the Falmouth Stakes. A bit of a rerun, really, of the Coronation Stakes for fillies. This is over a straight mile, whereas at Ascot it was over a round mile. Alcohol Free was one that I put up and got the job done at Ascot. Heads of the market alongside Snow Lantern, who was second at Ascot. Mother Earth was third. Primo Bacchio, they're the ones at the top of the market. Then we've got Lady Beaufort, Indie Angel, a Royal Ascot winner in her own right. Pretty Gorgeous, who we've covered on here before many a time. Saffron Beach, who was placed in the 1,000 guinea. So an absolute belter on Friday. That's at 3:35. I will be asking SD for his selection in a moment. But yeah, it's tricky. It's a tricky one. I think it's a really, really good race. 7 of the last 10 have been won by 3-year-olds. 7 of the last 10 have been won by 4-year-olds, but normally not this many 3-year-olds turn up. There's a lot of 3-year-olds in this field. A field of 13 is much higher than what we're used to seeing normally in this race. The average is about 7.2 on my figures. So we've not got the time to go through every runner, which will be a theme of this week with so much racing on, but there's a couple that stand out at the prices. Mother Earth's the one for me. You can get 5 places each way at 6-1. I wouldn't normally advise each way at 6-1 or lower, with that many places on offer, 5 places is a real good offer. That's from Sky Bet and Hills 6-1. I'm going to put that up as an official bet. Primo Bacchio missed the Coronation Cup at Ascot due to the soft ground. She was all the rage going into it. I think she was second or third favourite, Primo Bacchio, in the Coronation before she was withdrawn. I wouldn't put anyone off knocking her. But on Mother Earth, she's a 1,000 guineas winner. She ran a decent race in the French equivalent on bad ground. Coronation was also on bad ground. I think she came from a long way back. She was closing on alcohol-free with every stride. I think the return to quicker ground will be in her favour. And like I say, 5 places is a really good offer on this race. Finally, on Mother Earth, Aidan O'Brien does not mess about. When he has a runner in this race, it is usually his only runner. His last 4 tries in this race have been with just the one runner. He's won 2 of them, and he was second on the other 2 occasions. And like I say, when he does have one runner in this race, it usually goes pretty well. So Mother Earth at 6-1 would be the one for me. SD, I'm going to come to you now for the Falmouth on Friday. Any fancies?
17 years since Soviet song.
Speak up.
17 years since Soviet song.
17.
I mean, what a filly she was. But tomorrow, look, it's not really a betting race for me. I would back Snow Lantern because she could improve a little bit. But there's about 5 or 6 who can win. Just a point, by the way, on these each ways with these lovely place terms. 10 a.m. Hills go best odds guaranteed. You should be backing 4 or 5 of them. From a mathematical point of view, but I'd be backing Snow Lantern smallish. I'd be against alcohol-free at the prices, to be honest. Of which Pieman definitely wasn't last night.
Yeah, good call. Alcohol-free. Yeah, Pieman might be alcohol-free for the rest of the week. Well, then again, there's England on Sunday. But just on Snow Lantern, SD, I might get your opinion on this. At Newbury, she was sensational. First time up this season. It was only a maiden or a novice race. But the choke was out, if you like. Travelled beautifully and just strode out past everyone. Then at York, they tried to hold her up, ride her more patiently, and it was a disaster at York, pretty much. At Coronation, round the bend, did settle better, finished quite well. Like I say, was second on that day. The Newmarket Mile on the July course is a pretty easy one in comparison to Ascot. There is some downhill sections. Stiff enough finish in the last furlong, as we know. For me, with Snow Lantern, she's fascinating on the breeding, etc., and she's really exciting. But you've just got to let her go for me. Let her stride out. Don't mess around tomorrow trying to hold her up or come through traffic. Just let her tank along and see how it goes. This is a Group 1. Earlier in the season, I was thinking she might be better over 10 furlongs. Maybe I'll be proved wrong. But what would you do with Snow Lantern tomorrow as you're a backer of her?
I'd keep it very, very simple. Just a point on this York run. York is an absolute death trap for a lot of good horses.
Yeah.
I mean, you can forgive a bad run at York. I think, look, I think it's the improvement factor more than anything else why I'll be back here. So she's only had 4 runs, and the rest of them, they're relatively, I'm not saying they're exposed, but they can't improve as much. So, look, I'd be backing her, but I'd be by no means going in balls deep or whatever.
Yeah, it is a very, very good renewal. Like I say, there's more runners than usual. And yeah, I'm on Mother Earth. I think she's pretty solid, and I think she's definitely the best value of those 4 3-year-olds at the top of the market. But we'll move on. It'll be as similar to SD. It will be reasonably small stakes from me. So that's Friday. Well, there's other good races on Friday as well, to be fair. But like I say, we ain't got time to go through all of them. So we'll move on to Saturday. The feature event on the Saturday is without any question the July Cup. And I think it's fair to say it is an excellent renewal. Another Group 1, which is a theme of this week, not necessarily of last week, but of this week for sure. Another Group 1 where there's more than average runners. There's 19 entered in this July Cup. The 11-year average is only 13, which is decent, but 19 runners in the July Cup. And many of them have got chances. It's 9-2 the field currently. There's form lines from all over the place. I mean, I could talk about this horse for half an hour. We've got Starman, who if Ed Walker's to be believed, he could be one of the best horses of his generation. He didn't run at Ascot because of the soft ground. He's got to go out and prove it. Oxted won this last year, won the King Stand last time out. Dragon Symbol, first past the post in the Commonwealth Cup. Rohan put up a monster performance in the Wokingham Handicap. Creative Force has ran 4 times this year. He's won 4 times this year. Art Power, questionable ride in the Diamond Jubilee, could have won on another day. Glen Shield, a Group 1 winner. Supremacy, a Group 1 winner. Line of Departure's been supplemented for this race at a cost of 30 grand. Extravagant Kids got Maidan form. Method was pretty good at points last season. Summergan's been about and won top handicaps goes in this race. Glorious Journey won again last time out in a Group 3. He's 50-1, Glorious Journey. And then Brando, who runs in this race for the 5th time in his career, is 80-1. I mean, there's, like I say, we could talk about it for a long time, this race. I'm just going to stick to one. It'll be no surprise to the regulars. Dragon Symbol. It was first past the post in the Commonwealth Cup. It was my most confident bet of the whole week at Ascot. Put him up anti-post on the day, and I was delighted when he crossed the line first. Some firms paid out. It got turned over in the steward's room. We all know about that. I do think he'll be better on quicker ground, and it was bad ground in the Commonwealth Cup. But him and Campanelle in the Commonwealth Cup went miles clear of the rest. They might not be up to that much, but they went miles clear. 2 good horses. Campanelle was a really good juvenile, and Dragon Symbol has proven it this year round. He's right up there on official ratings, Dragon Symbol. I usually give you a warning about 3-year-olds going in with the older horses in sprints for the first time in the top class sprints. But the Commonwealth Cup means that they can get experience at Group 1 level before moving on to face their elders. Dragon Symbol's got that. Like I say, he's very close on official ratings. That's not the be-all and end-all. He's done nothing but improve this season. It was bad ground at Haydock. He would have finished in front of Rohan with another stride. Like I say, it was bad ground at Ascot. It was first past the post there. The only worry for Dragon Symbol for me would be this is his 7th start of the year. A career. His first start of his whole life was in March this year, and this will be his 7th start. So possibly an issue there, but we've just got to trust that the trainer's got him in good shape. Sky Bet have gone absolutely mad. They're offering 6 places on this way for each way bets. SD's already told you should be taking advantage of that for those that have got a Sky Bet account. He's 9-2 in that market. If you're that way inclined, you're going to make a small loss if he places. But I'll be putting Dragon Symbol up as a win-only bet. Is available at 5-1. That would be my selection, and I'm going to ask SD who he's going to be on in the July Cup.
Well, I'll be against Starman, that's for sure. I mean, he's won 2 races at York. He beat Nahar all right in the Oxted. I'm not quite sure that's great form. And I know Oxted won a Group 1 next time. Look, I think Arpo was given an absolutely dreadful ride. It was as if it was ridden in the dash at Epsom last time at Ascot. He just went hell for leather. If he just keeps a hold of it. Now the market moves at Ascot were very, very interesting. He got absolutely hammered in the betting. He shouldn't have been anywhere near 7-2 on form, and they clearly expected him to win. So I'll have a bet on Art Power. I backed him after Ascot at 20. Don't laugh, but Brando should have won the race last year. Watch it from the start. Now, he should have won. He lost 5 lengths at the start. In fact, he probably lost more than that. And he's 80-1, and he'll probably trip. So, Sly better are 66, 6 places. If you're anywhere near that, I think you've got to be interested at the price of him. I can't really have Rohan. I think he's probably a step up in class too much. I think Glen Shield will finish in the frame. Oxted will be there or thereabouts, but the main bet is surely Art Power. Just a word on Supremacy as well, because he had some very, very, very good 2-year-old form, which if he ran to on Saturday, upper double-figure prices would look a bit daft then. So I'll split mistakes with Art Power and Brando.
Yeah, Brando, like I say, runs in the race for the 5th time. My worry with him, SD, is that he's missed the kick, or he's slowly into stride on 3 of his last 6 starts. Like you say, he did it last year and lost many lengths at the start. Admirable performer, admirable. Don't get me wrong. Had some brilliant days out in his 9 years on a racetrack or 9-year career. But he can't afford to be missing the break again.
Well, he can't, but at 80 to 1, I'll play him take the chance. I mean, it'll be a lot bigger on the. You don't mention the exchange a lot on here, but it'll be a lot bigger on the exchange, and you can play the exotic place market there as well. That might be the way to play the race.
Yeah, Supremacy you mentioned. I mean, Clive Cox has won this twice in the last few years. Profitable. Lethal, whatever it was called, Lethal Force and Harry's Angel. He knows how to train a winner of this. He wouldn't be running Supremacy if he didn't think he could go well. He's 16 to 1. Art Power, I get your point there. I do definitely get your point there, but I'm not sure whether he's quite good enough for this. And his best form is on soft ground. So I think Dragon Symbol will be a different horse on better ground. I think it's as simple as that. I was worried about him on heavy ground at Ascot, but he still got past the post first there. But yeah, similar to the Falmouth, wide open, absolutely fascinating. You could make a case for 6-10 of these easily. But yeah, Dragon Symbol's the one I've landed on. The supporting race at Newmarket on Saturday is the Group 2. There's a big handicap Bunbury Cup that we'll come on to, but a supporting race on Saturday is the Group 2 Superlative Stakes for 2-year-olds. 3:15. That is one of the better 2-year-old races of season, and plenty of Ascot form coming into it. Debab brings the Ascot form. One that I backed at Ascot and was ruining it really because he was pretty unlucky or given a bad ride depending on how you look at it. But he's the favourite. Debab at 9 to 4. Frankie gets on this time. Rab Havlin was on last time. That will be a positive in many a listener's eyes. He might not like the weather forecast though. When I wrote that, the weather forecast was worse than it turned out. If it rains and it rains heavily, I would worry about Debab. His first two runs of his career, where he's done pretty well, have been both on good to firm. So just steering away from Debab at the moment. It was bigger prices earlier in the week, but 9 to 4 now is plenty short enough. Native Trail. Godolphin have a fantastic record in this week, and they don't run juveniles in group races for a laugh, particularly Charlie Appleby. They only had one runner in all the juvenile races at Royal Ascot. And for such a big operation at Godolphin, that shows that they don't just chuck them in for a day out. So, like I say, I'll be having a go on Native Trail. He's 9 to 2 currently with Bet Victor. That's a standout top price. He was punted off the boards on debut. That was at Ascot. Absolutely backed like he could not lose. He went off 8 to 11 on debut. Won that easily by 4 lengths. He might well get backed again for this Native Trail, to be honest. So I'll be looking at taking the 9 to 2 pretty soon. Just a shout out for Great Max. He's next in the market. We spoke about him for Royal Ascot. I put him up. He got a place in the Chesham. We spoke to Ross O'Ryan earlier this week. He was kind enough to give us some of his time. The interview will be out in the next few days when Pieman's got over his hangover. But yeah, Ross has said about Great Max, anything this year is a bonus, and they're treating him as a horse for next year. So keep an eye on Great Max as well. But I'll definitely be on Native Trail. I don't know whether SD's looked at this one, the 2-year-old Superlative Stakes, SD.
I backed Debab earlier in the week at 4 to 1.
You did.
He's a form horse. He was given a ride. The Pieman could have given him a better ride in his current condition. It was an absolutely dreadful ride. The variable is how good is Native Trail. I don't know. I think Debab's probably just about still a bet at 5 to 2. But again, I won't be going too heavy.
Yeah, I'm happy with Native Trail myself in that one, SD. We're moving on to the Bunbury Cup. There's 2 really big handicaps on Saturday, big betting races. This being one of them, without any question. It's the 350 over 7 furlongs. We're rolling now. It's thick and fast. There's maximum field of 20 runners. This is an early closer race, so the weights for this race would have been out before Royal Ascot. So any horse that's ran in the last couple of weeks, including Royal Ascot, are going off their old mark, if you like. So I'll explain why. Amethyst is the 6 to what is heading the betting at 6 to 1 alongside Perotto. Amethyst won over course and distance 2 weeks ago. Took a while to get going, but did get up close to the line. He carries a £6 penalty for this, but his actual official rating only went up £3 for that win. So he's actually £3 wrong in the handicap. Because if this race was to be ran next week, it would actually carry £3 less. He's got an official rating of 93, but he races off 96, if you see what I'm following. Conversely, Fundamental, who ran at Royal Ascot in similar colours, the Cheveley Park colours for John Gosden, he's actually £6 well in. because he finished 5th behind Creative Force, who runs in the July Cup. Fundamental finished 6th in the Jersey at Royal Ascot. That was a Group 3. And his new rating puts him at 106. He gets in here off 100, so he's going to have a chance. Look, for Fundamental, for me, I've watched a few of his races back today. He doesn't see out his races very well at the end, and this is going to be fast and furious. And yeah, I'm just not sure about him. He's 9-1. Yeah, I won't put anyone off him, but it's not for man money for Fundamental, to be fair. Just a quick nod to Perotto. He won the Britannia last time at Royal Ascot. Their handicaps at Ascot are really difficult to win. And he's officially £5 well in, so similar to Fundamental. So it's a competitive race all round. But I'm going for 2, both of which are reasonably exposed. The first one is, for me, Lord Rapscallion. He's 14-1 each way, 6 places with Hills. He's one of the most exposed runners in the field. He's had 40 runs in his life. But I think he's been a tad unlucky on his last 2 runs. He caught the eye at Royal Ascot for me. He got hampered quite a long way from home, don't get me wrong, but it just took him off toes a little bit. And he finished really quite well at Royal Ascot, Lord Rapscallion. He was 4th that day. I mean, he was never going to get close to Highfield Princess that day, who was well in. And then he was also at Epsom. It was a funny race at Epsom where they came and raced on the near side. It was wet conditions, so his last 2 runs have been a bit unlucky. Then Lord Rapscallion, before those, his last 2 runs before that, he was 2nd and 2nd. So I think he's in okay form. 14-1 each way, 6 places. And then the other one I'm going to chuck at you is a horse I put up on this channel before, Revich. He actually got me some place money at Newbury earlier in the season. He's been running at 8 furlongs and 7.5 furlongs this year. 7 furlongs is Revich's trip, and he gets it here. Revich is 28-1 in the 6 places each way market. You can get 40-1, but with less places. Like I say, he's won me a bit of place money on this before. His first 2 runs this season were really quite decent form. One of them at Doncaster in the Lincoln, he ran pretty well. He's ran at Chester this season. Chester's Chester, excuses there. And then last time at Ascot, Revich was basically a no-show. So we're making excuses for him, but that's what's happening at these prices. He's back to 7 furlongs since the first time, since November, and that's exactly what he needs. So Revich at 28-1 for me. I'm throwing 2 at that. SD, are you going for one of the unexposed 3-year-olds in this race, or are you going for one of the more exposed runners that we know and love?
I agree with you on Lord Rapscallion.
Oh, very well.
You've summarised it beautifully. It was like a supermodel summary, that.
Fantastic.
Just one thing, he was 2nd to Chill, which runs at the July Cup back in May, and has obviously won the Group 3 on the sand since. I'd back Symbolise as well, because I thought he ran a perfectly good race at Ascot, and if you can get on with Denise, and not many people can, there's still some 16s available, I think.
Good, nice summary there, and nice to see SD agreeing with me. That doesn't happen often, very often, folks. So we're going over to Ascot now, SD. I'll be back with you shortly. Firstly, we're going to look at the 3 o'clock, which is the Group 2 Summer Mile. Plenty of horses in here that we know and love or hate. I think SD is going to be balking at my selection, because I'm going to be with Top Rank. This is Top Rank's race. It's another group race this weekend with more runners than usual. 10 runners in this race. You don't normally get that many. It's 4-1 the field, pretty wide open. Top Rank wants soft ground. The regulars will know. I've been saying this all season. He wants soft ground, Top Rank, and he's going to get it. It's pretty soft at Ascot. It was heavy earlier in the week. It's not heavy now, but it's not far off. This horse ran a belter on first time up this season in the Doncaster Mile, and it was officially described as good that day. It was on the softer side of good. And PJ Mcdonald, who rides this horse virtually all the time, but not on Saturday, incidentally, said he wouldn't want it any faster. And then he ran on good to soft at Newbury in the Lock-in, finished 3rd. That's perfectly nice form behind Palace Pier. And then he's ran at good to firm at Ascot. He's got no hope. He's got no hope on good to firm. He doesn't want good to firm. He wants soft ground. He's going to get soft ground. He ran pretty well last time at Windsor without really winning. He carried £5 more than Century Dream and was only 1.5 lengths behind him. Century Dream reopposes. They're off the same weights today. I think soft ground is absolutely key, and Top Rank's 5-1, and he will be my bet in this. SD, where are you going in the Summer Mile, young man?
I was at Windsor, actually, and I was sweating like a pig. It was a really hot day. The reason I say I was sweating like a pig is because the ground was drying out. I mean, Century Dream won. I agree with you. I think Top Rank will beat him. I think the biggest concern, actually, is the jockey on it. James Tate's in great form, but Luke Morris will be doing... It'll look like he's Morris dancing on it. I mean,
Yeah.
I just hope he keeps it simple, because I think he's by far and away the most likely winner.
Yeah, good. We've had a question in the chat from Simon Smith there, not related to myself, about PJ Mcdonald, who's rode Top Rank on virtually every occasion in his whole life. But he goes to, on Saturday, he actually goes to York. He's got some really good rides Saturday, though, at York, Simon. Mr. McDonald is riding the favourite in the John Smith's Cup, which, you know, most people would be happy with that. Mossgill's got a right chance in the City Wall stake as well. So he's got a nice book of rides there. It's a fair question. It's a fair point. I wouldn't say I know the answer. Yeah, Luke Morris isn't everyone's cup of tea, but I don't put vast amount of stock in jockey bookings. I just think, as SD does, that Top Rank is the most likely winner in this race, and hopefully he will get the job done for me. The final main race, if you like, or the final ITV race we're looking at covering is the 3:35 at Ascot. Another big handicap, 5 furlongs. And I'm going for an absolute veteran in this, and one that I'm sure SD will have an opinion on. Tis Marvellous, proper veteran. He is 7 years old now, and he's got a fantastic record at Ascot. He's 12-1. You can get 6 places each way. That should be backed right now. And as I speak, I will be backing all these horses that I'm putting up. But as I speak, that's the only one I've backed currently at this early stage, because I think that 12-1 6 places is wrong. And I think the firmer with 6 places will be much shorter about that horse. Anyway, Tis Marvellous. He's had 33 total starts. He's a 7-year-old now. But in the last 4 seasons, in each of the last 4 seasons, his best performance of the season has come at Ascot. It's very, very simple. It's very straightforward. The only season that he's raced where he didn't have his best performance at Ascot was when he was a 2-year-old, and there's only one reason for that. He didn't visit Ascot as a 2-year-old. So every season, Tis Marvellous delivers at Ascot. Like I say, he's a 7-year-old now, but I just can't see no reason why not to back him. He hasn't been seen since the end of April, but the form of that race could hardly be any better. He was 4th. 3rd was King's Lynn. King's Lynn was unlucky not to win the King's Stand. He was unlucky not to win the Wokingham. We all know about King's Lynn. 2nd that day was Gareth. Gareth runs in the Group 1 July Cup on Saturday. He's a big price, but he runs it in the Group 1. First that day was Came From the Dark. He won a Group 3 last weekend at Sandown. So the form for Tis Marvellous could hardly be any better. And Tis Marvellous actually carried more weight than two of those mentioned. He actually carried more weight than Came From the Dark and King's Lynn, and he wasn't far behind him. Like I say, he's 12-1, each way 6 places. What's not to like about that? SD, 5 furlong handicap at Ascot on good to soft ground. Where are you going?
Just to point on Tis Marvellous, the ground, he was a non-runner in the Wokingham because of unsuitable ground. So you better hope Chris Stickles doesn't water again.
I know, but let me just be fair. The good to soft described now is significantly different than the monsoon that they had at Ascot on that Friday and leading into the Saturday.
Yeah. Look, I bet Blue de Vega because he's won at Ascot. Okay, he won that dreadful Shergar Cup, but he has got course form. He ran perfectly well on the beach at Newcastle last time. I'll keep it fairly simple with him. I get what you're saying, which is Marvellous. I don't think you're going to knock him out the 6 places or whatever other sexy terms are offered. But I mean, there's about 10 or 15 could win, and the best advice of Ascot handicaps is don't go in too much because they're an absolute lottery.
Yeah, it's 14-1 Blue de Vega, 6 places each way. You can never really dismiss a Robert Cow runner in a sprint. So there's plenty covered in today's video, plenty. And we're actually doing good time, SD. I was just going to ask anything else, anywhere else over the weekend that we've not covered. Friday, Saturday, Hamilton are racing. I know you like Hamilton.
Well, I do like Hamilton. It was much better when Maura Gray ran it 20 years ago. She's a very sexy woman, but she's aged since. Anyway, I have found one at Hamilton for you, and Jed O'Keefe is a great trainer in Midland. Now, Lady Poppy ran last year at Musselburgh in a maiden. Now, separated 2 horses called Bullseye and Candace, if I can say it right. Bullseye's now rated, 78. Candace is rated 80. So you'd expect a mid-70s rating, at least for Midnight Poppy. Well, she's now rated 60. Now, she's not run since April. I can give that. Jed's had a couple of winners in the last fortnight. Now, Hills have put her up at 9s.
What time? What time is it?
That is the 8:20 up at Hamilton.
So we're going to the 8:20 at Hamilton on Saturday. SD is making a very strong case. So, right, in conclusion, SD.
Andrew Breslin's taking 5 up as well. Basically, if she's anything light, she should win by about 4 lengths. So it's just a question of, has she trained on?
And just remind us of the name, Paddy Plex. No?
Lady Poppy.
Lady Poppy, sorry, yeah. Lady Poppy. There's also a Midnight Poppy in that race, so...
That's because she's called Midnight Poppy, apologies. She's just called Poppy.
Right, so SD has gone to probably the lowest class race ever covered on doubles and trebles. It's a Class 6 handicap for 0 to 60 rated 3-year-olds at Hamilton at 8:20 on Saturday night. So if you've done all your dough on my selections... on Saturday afternoon, you can get it all back on Midnight Poppy, currently priced up at 9 to 1, and that is the knowledge that SD brings when he makes a cameo appearance. I did have one other to put up Saturday away from the ITV cameras. I thought Samoot in, I've lost what bloody race it is. It's one of the early races at Newmarket. I think it's the 150. Samoot ran a perfectly good race in the Sandringham, did nothing wrong. It was against a handicap plot from Ireland. I think it was called Create Belief. Samoot was second, way clear of the rest, had to race on her own a little bit down the centre of the track. She's only gone up £3 for that, which I think is generous. There's some nice types in the race. It's the 205 at Newmarket. There is some very nice types in the race, to be fair. Kingman's, etc. But yeah, I do think Samoot, she is 3 to 1, 7 to 2. She'll be an official selection from me. I think that £3 rise in the handicap is not enough, and I do think she will win for Sir Michael Stout and William Buick. I'll just give a nod to the chat. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Pieman's in there, sent his apologies. He's actually in bed, I believe. Simon Smith's been weighing in as well. Line of departure, yeah. Decent form. Won last time out, I think, at Salisbury. First time up this season, has been supplemented. Line of departure, yeah, wouldn't argue with that. Roger Varian's not one for supplementing horses for no reason. So yeah, line of departure, fair enough. I think a 3-year-old as well. So we'll get the weight allowances that we mention regularly. Mcdonald going to York. We've covered that. He's got a good book of rides at York.
National winner. Did you know that?
PJ Mcdonald, 2007 Scottish National winner.
He did.
No, didn't know that one, SD. Again, just bringing the knowledge. Soft ground for Tis Marvellous. Well, his last win was on good to soft ground, Simon. I think we can accept that in the middle of July it's probably going to be dry in weather at Ascot. Yes, they've had plenty of rainfall earlier in the week. Hopefully it stays dry between now and then. And there's the final comment will go to Simon Smith also, who puts up Surrey Pride with a money bag emoji. I think he is in one of the 1 mile 4 handicaps away from the ITV cameras. So, yep. Oh, SD's just fell out there as well. So no doubt my phone will ring back again in a minute. But yeah, thanks to everyone for watching and contributing. SD's helped fill in for Pieman. It's just ringing back now. SD, anything in conclusion before we zoom off?
Quickly, a date in the last that it's far too big at 16s. I agree with you on the fillies handicap at Newmarket, but really, really quickly, Star of Emirati in that is 25. He won a Group 3 at the track last year. Golston and Dittori on a 25 shot, which is a former Group winner of 96, I think it is. You've got to weigh in with that, haven't you?
Yeah, you are right.
I'm at York on Saturday. Make sure everybody bets with BK Racing, the best bookmaker in the world. You
will be aware, regular listeners will be aware that in that fillies handicap where I put up Samoot, Star of Emirati was one I put a nod to in our 1,000 guineas preview. Not to win the 1,000 guineas, obviously, but I think I said at the time will be interesting when dropping back in trip. Well, this is the first time that Star of Emirati this season will be dropping back in trip to 7 furlongs. So yeah, the 7 furlongs a plus. And like I say, like SD has said, last time they let a filly go off at 20 to 1 with Dittori riding for Gosden was called Indie Angel at Ascot, and it won at 22 to 1. So yeah, another nod there. Plenty in there for you to get going. Let us know in the comments what you fancy. Thanks for watching, and I'll put all the official selections in the description as normal. We might be back to normal next week, but we might just get rid of Pieman forever, and me and SD might just do it. I mean, we're running off technology. I've got him on the phone here. I mean, easy peasy, isn't it? Right.
It is.
Thanks for tuning in.
Get well soon, Pieman.
Get well soon, Pieman. Good luck to everyone. I'll see you soon.